Welcome back, conversationalists, to another episode of KTCG Radio, keeping the conversation going. Today, we got three guests for you, and we're just exploring our confidence. How did we become ourselves through our journey through confidence? So, we're going to start off with the first question, which is: how do you imagine a confident person? And do you find yourself emulating these values on a day to day basis? So, Andrew, you can start. If you don't have anything, I can move it over to Mo.
Yeah. Confident person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to me, a confident person is somebody who can find the right balance of being boisterous when you need to, and
Mm-hmm.
then also being calm when
Mm-hmm.
you need to, right? Uh, being sure in who you are, what you bring to the table, things of that nature. So, to give you some examples about the first point that I made,
Yeah.
you know, like let's take it to relationships, right? Because I feel like that's a common example that people use when it comes to confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just knowing like when to oh fuck.
It's definitely a hard question when you think about it. Yeah, definitely take your
Yeah.
time.
Um, yeah, let's go with that for now. And
Okay,
then if I come up with more ideas,
got you.
I'll come back. Yeah.
All right, Mo, you're up next.
Um, I guess for myself, I can imagine a confident person as someone who knows themselves really well.
Mm-hmm.
They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
they know what they can bring to the table, and someone who can essentially articulate their worth or self worth
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
Um, do I find myself emulating these values? Some
Mm-hmm.
days yes, some days no. It constantly fluctuates. Um, but obviously it's if I feel like if you're in the supportive environment to be a confident person, if you have the people there, if you have your boys hyping you up, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're feeling confident one day, and
Mm-hmm.
then you take the lead on that the next day on your own.
Mm-hmm.
um I feel like that's a good way to start emulating that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have my moments of trying to emulate being a confident person, uh, but there are definitely some days where that's not the case.
All right, thank you for that, Mo.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Um, the you what was the question? Who was a confident person? What is a
How do
confident
you
person?
imagine a confident person? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I imagine a confident person as someone who knows exactly that they can uh go through whatever hurdle or situation. Let's just put it as a situation with what do you call it? I don't want to use the word confident. They're sure that they could go through whatever challenge without any like hesitation or
It is a difficult question.
right. It is a difficult question, but it is an attitude. Being
Yeah.
confident is it's just an attitude thing. You just know that you could do it, and that's it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's also like different levels of confidence. There's like also being very, very overly confident,
Yeah.
where you could probably come off as cocky, and then there's also a level of like, oh, I know I can do this. I feel good about it.
Got you. And do you find yourself emulating these values on a day to day basis?
Yes, I mean, for certain situations, I mean, it depends. It could be at work and even personal. Like when it comes to talking to random people, I'm very confident with that. So it doesn't, I don't really have a problem with that. But when it comes to maybe doing a project that I'm not too familiar about, I'm not going to be as confident as I am with the projects that I'm familiar with.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Thank you for gearing up your brain and answering the questions. I don't know, Andrew, did you find a extra answer or you're good?
I wanted to say Mo bodied that question.
Oh. Okay.
Not to, yeah, not to. discredit myself or Richard, but
Yeah,
Mo,
of course.
I like what you said about confidence, and I don't want to be redundant at all. So yeah, I'll just go. Let's lean on what Mo said. As far as like, do I find myself emulating that? Going back to what echo what Mo said. Some days yes, some days no. But yeah, just being sure of what you bring to the table, knowing when to kind of open your chest and knowing when to kind of take a step back. That to me, that's the important part. Like when to actually not say anything or just like to move low key. Because I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but I'll try to come back to that.
Definitely. All right, Gemise has the next question.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. Definitely agree that, it's the time and place for certain things, and you just need to know when to do certain stuff.
Yeah.
Our next question is, are people born with confidence or is it nurtured? So do we just come out of our, mama's wombs just ready to take on the world, or do our families help us in that process? Mo, you can go first.
I guess from personal experience, I do have to say that it is something that is acquired. You're not born with confidence. I like to think that everyone starts off on a clean slate, and it also goes back to the little comment I said about surrounding yourself with, your boys or your essentially your social group. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to your confidence levels, obviously you can have confidence in yourself. That can be through living a healthier lifestyle, being more social on your own. But then if you're with your friends, it's an entirely different realm, because now, for example, like now you have your boys hyping you up to go talk to one person, or they have even on let's say if you have the opportunity, or even I guess like the privilege to work with your friends at your job, they can push you to do things that you are uncomfortable with, but a good uncomfortable. So that level of confidence is in my opinion is definitely acquired. It's not nurtured or right out of mama's womb. Like you're not gonna see me walking out with like slick back hair, like I'm the baby in this hospital. It's definitely, in my opinion, something that is worked on and definitely improved upon as time progresses.
Definitely. Richard?
Perfect, because I just had to step out. All right, so confidence, I think it is not inherited. It's basically nurtured. So it's a lot of what Mo had mentioned. It's like a skill that you, or a characteristic that you learn eventually, based on who you associate with, or probably even with practice. When you practice things often, you become confident in that area. So it is not inherited or passed on from like genes. I think it's definitely nurtured.
All right, thank you. Andrew, you're up next.
Yeah, I struggled with this one for a little bit, because while I agree that you're not born with confidence, I do believe that some people are born with kind of like
an inkling.
that mindset, right?
Yeah.
That I don't know how to describe it, but I think like that mindset kind of goes hand in hand with your confidence. And then as you are, with the support group, like Mo said, or as you accomplish more of your goals in life, the rate at which you develop that confidence might be faster than somebody else, because you kind of were born with that mindset of like, I will prevail, I will achieve. So it's kind of like a yes and no, not a straightforward answer. So maybe we're all born with like the ability to nurture our confidence, but I do think there is a slight difference between people's mindsets, which has a strong influence on how confident you actually become. Because confidence is like really the belief, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just want to make that distinction there.
Definitely. That was definitely an interesting response. I feel as if you're right. It's not a yes or no answer. It's more of a gray area. Because I definitely believe, like, given an MLK, I don't think he ever imagined his life to lead towards that path. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely there's a essence of like a leadership value that's unspoken or like not taught, but it's already in your body, and you just need a
Yeah.
certain moment or certain period in time that like unravels that, and you're like, wow, I've never knew I'm capable of this, but I'm doing it now. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting perspective you shared there. Yeah, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, we can move on to the next question. Was there ever a moment in your life that negatively impacted your self esteem for a long period of time? And in contrast, was there a moment that brought light to that issue that you had in your life? Yeah.
Okay. To answer your question about, did I go through a period of time where my confidence was shot? Yeah, definitely. Most recent example is probably with work, right? Because I had been for the longest time trying to make the transition from one side of the company to another side of the company. And I found myself like attaching my self-worth to my ability to make that transition when a lot of it is variables that are like outside of your control, because at the end of the day, like people gotta want to hire you. Like there's so many different things that play a factor. And so yeah, for me, like that was like probably a year and a half long journey. Eventually I made the transition over, but during that time I was definitely like, skeptical of my ability to do things, because the only benchmark that I was looking at was, did I successfully transition over? And I wasn't looking at the many wins too, which is like, cleaning up your resume, having the conversations with the right people, things of that nature. So that was definitely a moment where my confidence was shot.
Mm-hmm.
On the contrary, what was the second
Oh,
part?
in contrast, was there a moment that brought light to your journey ever since that negative impact?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess making the transition over, you know what I
Oh,
mean? You feel like,
okay.
damn, I did it. Damn, I did it. It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
But I was able to make it through, which although it's positive, it kind of it's a negative way to look at things, because again, I'm just attaching my self-worth and like my entire confidence on making that transition over.
Definitely.
So I think it's important to celebrate that moment, but I don't want to like totally attach my just capability, right? All of my capabilities, on whether or not I'm able to make that transition onto the other side of that of the company.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Thank you for that.
Yes. So a moment where I was negatively impacted with my self-esteem was also during my career. So I am a real estate agent, and I basically like transitioned back because I was doing hospitality for some time when I was in school. And once I graduated, a few months later, I decided to pursue the career again as a real estate agent. So back in January, I became a full-time real estate agent, and as you guys, I think you guys know that it's a commission-based industry.
Definitely.
It's a commission-based job, and that's how you make your money. So I was confident, like, oh, I'm pretty sure I could sell a few homes from here to the summer.
Yeah.
And I had savings and everything planned out for that time period. So when we were getting closer to the summer, and I noticed that I didn't sell anything due to the fact that we were like in a seller's market and I was working as a buyer's agent, which I still am. basically there's a lot of competition in this market, and a lot of properties are being sold for over asking, and a lot of the buyers I'm working with, their offers are not as strong as other offers that come in. So that, I guess that for some time did affect my self-esteem, because I thought it was something that I was doing, but it's also like a circumstances situation.
Yeah.
Um, so I ended up taking like a pause for like a couple of months after like May, June, around there.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, about a month ago, I guess my self-esteem came back, especially when my broker contacted me, offering me like a position where I'm paid hourly, meaning that I get to work with these people and I get to assist them with the same tasks. And I guess that really brought up my confidence again, because the fact that they called me back to come work with them, because I guess they like my work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
meant a lot to me. So did I answer the question?
Yeah, you did.
Right.
You did.
Great.
You did. Thank you
Yes,
for
I mean that's my
sharing.
experience. Yeah.
All right, Mo, you're up next.
I mean, I guess the moment for me would have to be like when I was a kid. There was a point in time where I was bullied to a point where I suffered like broken bones. Um, so I guess like from there all the way into the beginning of college would be my entire duration of like low self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
just because during that time, I mean, as a kid, I was a meatball. You know, like you see like you see a little brown version of me just walking in middle school, just like wobbling even, and then having gotten picked on for that, and then continuously happening as time progressed, the overall like health vision of myself really took a toll on me, just because of I was a fat kid. I'll just be honest here. I was a fat kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just really uh, more of a wild time, because I never really, I mean, looking back on it now, I've never thought about how negatively it impacted me when it came to my decisions I made, the things I actually put myself out for, and so on. But I guess now, like, that's going to transition into the light of the journey, being more conscious of how healthy I am and how I can actually improve my own situation, and not really let anyone essentially bully me down for that. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, like if that person is more, I guess, healthier than me or even fit, like that's cool for them, right? Live your life, good for you. I'm still working on me. That's all I care about. So I guess just like going off of that, that would be my moment of like negativity that impacted my self-esteem, and then ultimately realizing that you know I can work on myself and do better.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing, Mo.
Yeah, I feel you on that, Mo. I definitely was a heavy set kid as well. From like birth to maybe no cap. Like from birth to I was born 9 pounds, if that tells you anything, right? Most babies I think are born like 6, 7 pounds, something like that. I was born 9 pounds, so it was like, man, I was doomed to fail since I came out the womb, right? And up until like 21, it's like I want to say junior year at Baruch College is when I kind of, I don't know, I've maybe hit rock bottom and just decided I wanted to make that transition. So that's when I really got serious with exercise, similar to Mo, kind of experienced some bullying, a lot of which I'm still unpacking right now, which is interesting, right? Because it like I'm 26 and I noticed that my interactions with, and feel free to cut me off if I'm going too much on a tangent, but I noticed that my interactions with certain groups of people, although they're not the people specifically that bullied me, because they're a part of that group of people that bullied me, is like when I'm interacting with them, I have like that so Raven flashbacks of that trauma. You know what I'm saying? And I try not to let it influence my interaction with those groups of people. But it's like, as a human, you can't help but think to, you know, those negative situations when, you know, when you, and it's so wild, bro. Like, even years removed from that, I'm still kind of like, you know, still kind of triggered, PTSD, all that stuff. But yeah, not to go into like a therapy tangent and, you know, unpacking like your childhood traumas.
That's our next episode, actually. But
that's important too. You know what I mean? That's super important.
Definitely. Just to like shed light on myself, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have had that journey with weight and how their experiences with like interacting with people. For me, it was my family, especially my mom and my dad, who made comments about my weight, and it hits different when it comes from like people that it's just assumed you can trust, like family. Like, I didn't expect you to like roast me and like make me feel like garbage. So like even till now, as you are, I'm unpacking that, and it's just a different level of like restraint and like trying to calm down, especially when I'm talking, especially when they still bring it up to this day. And I'm still trying to find ways to deal with it, still trying to find ways to avoid it, and it's definitely a difficult process for people to go through, especially without any blueprint of how to, you know, go through it, and people just being like, oh, just lose weight. Well, for some people, losing weight isn't that, not like 1, 2, 3, it's not that easy. So it's definitely finding a way to like reroute that anger to healthier forms of expression, blowing off steam. And so hopefully, Drew, I hope you find that that key to your struggles.
Likewise.
Gemise, you have the next question.
Yeah. Thank you all for just being vulnerable in that moment. Mohammed already knows that being roasted is just part of my family as well. And I just deal with it on the daily, just, you know, fat arms or like anything in general. I do want to let you know that since I have started therapy, you cannot unpack those traumas alone. I think you should find a way to delve into it. It is hard and it is difficult. But I know that those traumas will not be triggering within the next 10 years if you're doing the work. So I hope that you guys, you know, just feel better physically and mentally just in that space. So on to the next question. Is your sense of confidence contingent on having a significant other? So, you know, do you need a little boo thing to keep your, you know, to keep you all high and mighty?
I saw that question before jumping on there, and I was laughing at that.
Well, Drew, you're gonna start.
Oh yeah, I'm up, right? Is your confidence contingent on a significant other? So significant other, can we define that? Like, is that like a actual, is it a girlfriend or is it a sneaky link? It's because the answer is different for me.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So just to put some boundaries, it's any person you share intimate value with. So it can be a sneaky link. It can be a girlfriend, boyfriend. It can be a wife. So does your sense of confidence fluctuate depending on whether or not you're single or you have people you can share intimate values with? Does that help you?
Yeah. Yo, I think this is interesting because for me personally, I feel like with a girlfriend, my confidence is the most at risk of being low.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what I've found in my experience, because with a girlfriend, it's almost like a lot of what you do, a lot of what you're able to accomplish, I almost know that this person is gonna ride for me. So there's like less thrill behind what we're able to accomplish, right? And the thrill of accomplishing things is what boosts confidence, right? But when you have an expectation that this person's going to ride for you, or this person, or like you kind of just you're able to anticipate what's coming along, it's like, I don't know, it's less confidence boosting. Now, when it's with a sneaky link or just somebody that you're not really sure, it's like high risk, high reward. When you accomplish whatever it is that you accomplish with this person, and it doesn't always have to be sexual, but like just doing things with that individual, it I feel like there's a lot more thrill behind it.
Okay.
So. And it's not to say that there can't be thrill with a girlfriend, but like over time, right? With significant other being like a girlfriend, I don't know how to describe it, yo. Like you just like you're more on edge with somebody that you barely know, but like when it's your girlfriend, it's like, oh, I know she's gonna do this, or I know he's gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like if the roles are reversed.
Yeah.
So that's why I think like my confidence is more at risk when it comes to girlfriend versus like sneaky link, because I get confident based on like the thrill of accomplishing things that I didn't think I could accomplish. And so I have to be very intentional when I have a girlfriend to like make sure I'm still finding ways to put myself out there, and not just like coast, or not just like,
Okay.
I don't know,
No,
like
you're
still
making
make life
sense.
super exciting. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, definitely. Okay, okay. Mohammed?
If that don't make sense, we
No, it does.
can
It does. I see. I mean, that's true. That's true to your experience. But I
yeah,
guess for
exactly.
me, I can kind of see where you're going at, because with there's a pressure when you're in a relationship to keep things interesting, or to keep things not feel like it's mundane and feel like
Right.
you're taking your significant other for granted. But I guess with a sneaky link, I see your I see how you're categorizing the relationship, but like for just for that question, do you think that your confidence is on a higher plane compared to your single when you're in a long-term relationship?
Yeah, look, and then to I guess to bring it all home, like
Yeah.
my goal is to always make sure my confidence is at an all-time high, regardless of if I'm in a relationship,
Okay.
if I'm with a sneaky link, or if I'm
Okay.
single, right?
Got you.
But I'm saying like confidence is way more at risk for
At
me
risk, yeah.
to be lower when I'm in a relationship, because a lot of my confidence comes from the thrill of just doing shit that I
Yeah.
didn't think I would do, right?
Okay.
And I think like to your point about girlfriend, a
Uh-huh.
lot of it is expected, or a lot of it is predictable.
Yeah.
And you have to be intentional about, hey, like let's do something that like feels fun or feels different than what
Okay.
we haven't done. When
Okay.
it's with a sneaky link, it's like you barely know this person,
Yeah.
so everything you do, every interaction is
Yeah.
just bound
Okay.
to feel different, right?
Okay.
Like, yo, let's go on top of a roof today, or just hang a chill there, right? Like, damn, like I can't believe I just did that, right? But if you go on top of a roof with your girl, it's like that's dope. It's fun, but it's like you already knew that person was gonna be down to do it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't know, like I don't
Okay.
know, like
Just to give you one more way to think about it. Say for instance, you guys had like a big fight, and tomorrow you
yeah,
have like this big project presentation that you have to do. You still work at Google, right?
yeah,
Okay, so
yep.
you have this project that's the deadline is tomorrow. The
Hmm.
night before, you're fighting with your girl over like emotional issue, or like an issue with another person. Does
Yeah.
that fight affect your performance of the project the next day?
Uh, yeah, I would say so,
Okay.
probably. Just because I'm like a Drake kind of guy too. So I feel everything, you know. I'm a
Okay.
Leo and I'm a Drake kind of guy. So it's hard for me to compartmentalize, and like
Yeah.
things definitely have an effect on me. But I don't think that's different between girlfriend and sneaky link. Like if a
Yeah.
sneaky link was to upset me the day before, then that would probably impact the presentation the next day.
Okay. Because I'm trying to get
And
at
then
whether or not your relationship affects your determination of whether or not your capabilities. Like you're a
yeah,
master presenter,
and
right?
that's kind of how I want to close. I'm
Yeah.
not saying like having a girlfriend, because I have a girlfriend right now,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
long-term girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fun, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, I find that like you have to be way more intentional
Mm-hmm.
about the things you do to
Mm-hmm.
keep it exciting, because naturally, like in a relationship, when you're with someone over an extended period of
Mm-hmm.
time, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you cannot like
It becomes
there's
routine.
like
It becomes
right,
there's a
it
risk
becomes a
for it
little
to
bit
become
more routine,
yeah.
and you have to like literally plan out the thrill,
Okay.
whereas like just being with somebody else
A
is
sneaky link, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Being with a sneaky link,
I feel
there's
you.
there like it's like it's more thrill
Uh-huh.
driven, because
Uh-huh.
every time you link, it's like you don't really know what's gonna happen, right?
Definitely.
So like confidence is more at risk with the girlfriend, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say like my girlfriend like hurts my confidence
Got you.
necessarily. You just got to make sure that you're finding other way. I'm finding other ways to
Mm-hmm.
like to accomplish the different
Mm-hmm.
goals and boost my confidence,
Mm-hmm.
so that it doesn't like saturate at all.
Got you. All right. Thank you for working with me through that whole process right there.
I feel like I'm gonna get canceled for
No,
saying
you're
that.
you're fine, bro. You're fine. Yo, Mo, you can
Yo.
go.
How do I come up? How do I like compare with that?
Uh, you gotta try, man.
Uh, is the sense of confidence contingent on a significant other? I'm play devil's advocate and say no, it's not.
Okay.
Um, because you know you can you can have your significant other, they
Mm-hmm.
can hype you up, but let's say or in one case, if you guys aren't living together, right?
Mm-hmm.
They leave, and then you're all alone again,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then that sense of confidence goes with them, and then it's just like, all right, so I'm not confident anymore. I have to rely on my significant other to essentially like feel good,
Mm-hmm.
and that responsibility is solely your own. You
Mm-hmm.
have to essentially like be confident. But going back to what I was saying, that sense of confidence is solely your own to
Mm-hmm.
build upon.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a significant other who adds on or helps you become more confident than you are,
Mm-hmm.
great. That's good for you. Happy for you. Keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I personally believe that your sense of confidence is your own.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put in the hours, you have to put in the work,
Okay.
the go through that entire journey of knowing who you are and what
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel confident as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
as well. And yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Hey,
man.
hey, hey! Before I get canceled, can I just
Go ahead, bro.
can I just go off of what Mo was saying?
Go ahead.
So I definitely agree with Mo. I'm sorry, Richard. Like I just I had to come in here. I definitely agree 100% with what Mo is saying. Like the onus is on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just to like drill this point home, because I feel like I maybe have been a little bit unclear.
Mm-hmm.
When I say it's at risk, I just feel like, I mean, look at examples of people who get in relationships and then maybe you just become a lot more passive about your goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the relationship tends to like be at the forefront now. And when you become more passive about your goals, for me at least, confidence, like I'm assessing my confidence. I'm assessing my confidence based on my ability to accomplish these goals. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to be a lot more intentional when you're in a relationship. Hence why I feel like the relationship can put your confidence at risk when you are single, or if you're just you're dating somebody that's it's not too serious. You have a lot more time and like autonomy over your own schedule, so you can be a lot more proactive about those goals. Hence why my confidence tends to be think like at an all-time high organically, and I have to be like less intentional about it. But regardless of if I'm in a relationship, I love my girl. Regardless of if it's a sneaky link, regardless of if I'm single, I'm always trying to keep my confidence at an all-time high. It's just that like in the relationship, because you're prioritizing somebody else, sometimes there's not as much time for those goals, and then your confidence can be at risk. I feel like this is a lot more clear. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't cancel me.
All right, thanks, Drew. All right,
shout out to my girl.
Oh my goodness. All right, you're up next, Richard, if you got anything to share. You're muted.
Absolutely. Yes, I can speak now.
Okay.
So honestly, I don't even know how to answer this question, but based on my experience, it fluctuates. It just depends on who the person is.
Okay.
If it's someone like, if I know their history, my confidence could be put into a test right there. Like I don't think I'm gonna be feeling as confident.
Gotcha.
So I guess that also has to do with like the overall experience. But I really do not know how to answer this question the right way.
Okay. Thank you, Richard.
Sure.
With that, if you got nothing else, Drew, you good? You feel safe?
I was just gonna tell Richard, like that's the best answer. Don't, because then you're not gonna get canceled like me.
Don't worry, bro. I'm pretty sure you're not.
Also, I feel like the host need to answer.
Oh,
right?
the host?
Like,
okay. I mean, yeah.
Put y'all in the hot seat.
All right, that's no problem with me. I'm good.
No, honestly, like when the entire time, Drew, that you were talking, I was like, you're not going to get canceled. Like, I think the important part of this is that, like, I don't know. I feel like, and even Mo said it, like, you're born alone, right? Like, you're born alone, and your environmental factors, like the people around you, have an impact on how you move, like how you feel about yourself. So it's not, and you said that, like, your confidence is at risk. I feel like when I'm in a relationship, I mean, even though I am in one, right? But just in general, like when I am in a relationship, there's a sense of like, am I doing the right thing? Your self-esteem is at risk, because now you're not thinking about yourself, but you're also thinking about what you're doing for other people. So it's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm doing what I need to do. Like, I know me, like, I know I'm confident, I know I'm strong, I know I'm a bold woman, I know I'm ambitious, but like having that person in your space, and it depends on how that person is. Are they detrimental to your self-esteem, or are they supporting you in becoming the person that you want to be? And I feel like it's not contingent, but it does have an impact on just how you move and how you think about yourself. And so, yes, it is at risk when you're in a relationship, because now you have to kind of like open yourself into a new realm of like, oh God, like, am I the shit? Am I not the shit? Like, what's about to happen? And I think that's just happened. And the same thing when you were mentioning like sneaky link, like when I've had just, just little
friends.
just little friends. Yeah. Nice little friends with benefits, right? It's not that big of a deal, because I'm just doing what I want to do. Like, I'm still me. I'm still doing what I want to do. But there's no like emotion or like that connection. I mean, it's the intimate connection, but there's no like, damn, like I really want to build a like relationship and like life term, just whole impact and relationship with you. Like, this is a commitment. Like, that's not a commitment. Like, you just don't care. You just moving how you want to move. Like, you at that point. But like now you're putting someone into your space that you really want to stay there, right? That you want to keep them, and you want to make sure that like they know who you are. And it's like you're showing it to them, but they are also like, nah, you're not really what I thought you could probably be. But you're showing them like who you can be. So I do think that like there's a huge impact on like just what they do to your self-esteem and your confidence in the long run.
And just to keep it short, for me personally, I'm a highly emotional individual, and I had to like unlearn how to separate my emotions and like the actions of like people, and like just making sure that anything and everything they do was not an attack towards me, because I had to like unlearn that. Coming from my family, I just grew up really emotional. So with me personally, relationships stress my EQ a lot, because I'm always wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I good enough? Am I being the right boyfriend? So I actually do think that my confidence is more stable when I'm single, and I've shared that with Gemise. Like I feel more confident when I'm single because I don't have to worry about the a relationship because of its complexity and like the amount of work that you have to put in it, the amount of times where you feel like you're not doing well. Is my penis size okay? Am I being emo? Like there's so many worries that there's in a relationship that me personally, this relationship is great, but if I like mentally had the choice, if I was able to choose my path, I think my level of confidence would be higher if I was single because I don't have that stuff to worry about. Not saying that Jamise is making me feel like garbage at all times, but that's just who I am and what I had to learn about myself and like the journey of my confidence, basically. Just to keep it short.
I would like to add to that.
Yeah.
I guess Jamise and you actually like hit the points that I was trying to emphasize and I didn't know how to get to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm in a situation where I've been in situations several times too, because it's not the first time where, for example, the friends with benefits are interested in pursuing a relationship.
Yeah.
Yet I don't feel that confidence in doing that because I feel like it's easy for you to just continue doing the friends with benefits situation. You know, you could hold me down, but then see other guys. So it's like, I don't know. I feel that when if I'm not meeting the person like through Tinder,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I feel like a lot more confident if I met them in a different environment, in a
Yeah.
different setting,
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that I don't know that wasn't exposed.
Okay.
But when you see that there's some other interests, and you know when you're friends with benefit of other people, or you're just hooking up,
Yeah.
you know, and then suddenly you want to establish a relationship. But what if my thoughts with is, what if the person gets bored and they
Yeah.
want to continue seeing other people? So
Mm-hmm.
um I feel that I don't know. It just depends on the person, I guess.
Definitely. It definitely
Yeah.
does. But yeah, anything everybody shared their hearts out
Yeah,
about this topic. Drew, you got anything else to add?
nah, I mean, the only thing is, I guess, to wrap it up, it's
Yeah.
interesting to see like what side of the coin everybody sits on. You know what I mean? Because I think like the common denominator is your confidence is at risk when you're
Yeah.
in a relationship, but
Yeah.
we all have different reasons why,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Yeah.
spoke about how it's like, are you doing enough? For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, damn, I'm not able to kind of focus on my goals, which
Mm-hmm.
as much, which hurts my confidence because I
Mm-hmm.
base my confidence on my ability to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that I think that's what's been interesting for me, like hearing
Mm-hmm.
all the different reasons why people feel like your confidence can be at risk
Okay.
when you're in a relationship.
Definitely. All right. Thank you for letting us answer, Andrew. We can move on to the next question. Has thoroughly accepted the person you are in this moment? And if not, what are things you need to work on? Mohammed, can you answer?
Oh yeah, sorry. I
No, you're
was thinking
fine.
about this. Have I accepted the person I am right now? Definitely not. Oh well, it's a yes and no. I've accepted where I am currently, but I do not accept the person who um, I guess I am at the same time, because I, I know when to say like, all right, I've made great progress with these strides, whether that's in my career, emotionally, mentally, physically. So there are some times where I'm like, I feel okay. Like I feel okay. with the person I am now, but I do not feel satisfied. That's what I wanted to say. So like for my career, I mean, like thinking about what is next, if I want to join, business groups in my organization, or lead up a lead up a project that's currently taking place in my, I guess, academic life. Just, do I want to go for an MBA? If I do, what do I want to study? Where do I want to study? And so on and so forth. In regards to, I guess, like health, like, all right, what new workouts can I try? How can I push myself to that next level? So it's essentially acknowledge. So I'm going to speak for me, because I mean, this is me. I personally feel like I can be okay with where I am now, but I'm not satisfied, because I know there are constantly things that are needed for me to get to where I want to be. Like I firmly believe in, if you're able to have a vision of your future, then you're able to work towards it. And I have a vision that I need to continuously work towards. So have I accepted the person I am in this moment? Out of all this, no. But will I accept the person I am within 5, maybe 10 years or lay down the line? Of course.
Okay, thank you, Mo. Richard, you're
up. I think I accepted the person that I am today. However, I don't know. The thing is that I feel like it's also what do you call it? It changes daily. So I mean, today I feel very satisfied about myself. But then there's days probably when things are not going well, or maybe when I start to analyze like certain things that I've done, that's when I start to like question, like, oh, am I, the person that I've become, is it the right, am I the right person, Or sometimes we also have certain situations where society mold us in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's like you're acting according to society's
expectation,
value.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's not aligned with yours, you start to question, like, okay, what's the whole purpose of me? Because it's not, you're not enjoying yourself. You're not enjoying yourself. You're not enjoying your life. So it's like, why am I doing these things just because society, or family or friends, are thinking that these are the right things? For example, my thing is, I went to Baruch, and at one point I felt like there was no need for me to continue being in Baruch. And I'm proud that I finished it, because I always like to finish what I start. But at the same time, I feel that if I would have left and done other things with my life, I would have probably been in a different situation. And I think the reason why I stayed in college longer, or till the end, is probably mostly because of like family achievements and stuff like that. So I mean, in a sense, it makes me proud, but then at the same time, it's like I did something that I didn't really enjoy. So I mean, that's just one perfect example of my current situation.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing with that. I mean, I finished college, I feel like 60% because my parents expected me to. 40% was me wanting to actually finish college. But just like you, I didn't want to not finish because I already came this far. And I don't regret it, but I do wonder how life would be different if I didn't complete college, or if I was a college dropout. Would I have made it? Would I have found other opportunities? Would I have been more successful? So that's definitely a multiverse type question right there.
Right.
You can go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because, by the way, I love how vulnerable we're all getting here. That's a tough one, because I anchor on Mo's point about, it's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I feel like ultimately, yeah, I'm grounded in who I am. I've identified that it is always going to be this ebb and flow, right? Like some days are going to feel great. Some days you're going to feel on top of the world, and some days you're not. But if I just take the average, the average of 10 days,
Yeah.
then I would say more often than not, I feel pretty good. My challenge or my struggle is like feeling comfortable projecting who I am in my entirety to the world. So doing that at scale, because there's a part of me that's like a not a people pleaser, but I definitely enjoy connecting with other humans. And there's, at the end of the day, like everybody's going to have a point of view, and it's not always going to resonate the way you want it to with other people. So it's like pushing past that and saying, like, just on some Kanye shit, like, yo, I don't care which is within of itself controversial, but the one positive to that, that mindset or that way of living is like, you get to just be free and you get to just be yourself, right? Which there's a beauty to it. So I would say, yeah, that's probably like what my current challenge is, you know what I mean? Just like being okay with knowing that, yo, at the end of the day, everybody's not going to agree with you on your different outlooks. And it's about standing your ground, having healthy debates, having healthy conversations with people who are deserving of those conversations. And then moving past like what you ultimately can't control.
Gotcha. Yep. Thank you for that. There's a thing I wanted to say, but I feel like it would be better for the next question. Nobody has anything else to add? Mo, you good? Richard, good? All right. Gemise, I think you have the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Drew. The vulnerability in here is real, and it always happens on this show. I tell you. So, are you currently faking it until you make it? Is there is there pressure for you to seem successful? That's everybody's favorite phrase to say and phrase to live by. But like, is it helpful or is it hurtful? And is there pressure for you to seem successful by family, friends, even by yourself because of the world?
I think Richard, you're up first.
Yep.
All right. Great question. So, I mean, I don't think I had to fake anything so I make it. What can I say about that? I don't like to give false images. That's all. So, I mean, career-wise, it's I'm very honest with everything I say. For example, when I'm working with people and they ask me certain questions like, how many sales have you made? I'm very honest. I haven't sold anything yet, There's no need in lying, because I feel like eventually that's going to come out. People will know, and it's I think it's a worse thing to be called a liar, or I just don't want to have that image on me. So as yeah, that's it. I don't have to fake anything. So yeah, I don't think that's the best strategy to have. Just to impress people, just be honest with your own self, and I know that eventually things are going to get better, and I'm going to be in a different situation.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Just quickly, is there pressure for you to seem successful?
No. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm achieving the success. So I think it's gradual. So it's not like, I mean, probably because of the fact, like I had mentioned before, I went to Baruch and I didn't pursue this career before. So I feel like I'm a little bit behind, but then at the same time, everything happens at its own time. So, I just know that's gradual. You can't jump to the top. You can't start at the top. You got to start climbing steps, So Um, that's my point of view.
Got it. Yeah. Drew, you're up next. He looks like he's very deep in thought right now.
Yo, yo, the whole time Richard was talking, I was listening, right? So if you want to quiz me on what he said, like I could definitely answer, but I literally was just like, am I faking it until I make it? Am I faking it until I make it? Am I faking it until I make it?
That's real though. That's real. Thanks for sharing that.
Am I faking it until yeah, so Rich, I like what you're saying about transparency. Am I faking it until I admit? Yo, Mo, can you take this one first?
I'm on the same boat as you.
Drew's over there in a trance. Get out of it. You gotta get out of it.
Yo, all right. So let me just attempt to answer this question. Am I faking it until I make it? The answer is, yo, I don't know why this feels so difficult. Am I faking it until I make it? I think.
Do you feel like, do you need a little push?
Yeah, I need a little booster seat or something like that.
So you can think about it in this way. So, you know, we all have careers. We're all working towards something, right? You can think of it as, do you genuinely do the work that you do because you want to? Or are you going through that process and it's like, I just got to be a leader because I know one day I have to get to that point. Like that, you're not being your true self, but you're emulating things or ideas into yourself, like into what you do in your work, just to get to where you want to be.
And just to pick it off of Gemise, and I hope this helps you, do you think that there's a facade you have to portray on your Instagram, your social media, in your day-to-day life to make other people perceive you as like, yo, Drew is doing it right now. Like, I got to be like Drew. And on the flip side, while you're doing that, is it fake? Like, is it just a facade you're trying to portray because you feel like there's a invisible force that's making you feel like you need to be successful?
Yeah, I love that y'all broke this down elementary school level for me, because I definitely needed that. I think what was so tough about the question is like I'm interpreting it in so many different ways. So I'll just start with what you all had mentioned about career. Well, actually, I'll go to like my original interpretation of the question. Faking it until I make it is hard to answer because I never want to feel like I have made it. You know what I'm saying? Like in my Instagram bio, like literally it's celebrate then get back to it, right? So I never want to make it, and in some sense I feel like I am faking it, or I'm trying to continue to challenge myself, right? Which sometimes can feel like I'm faking it, because in challenging myself, I don't always know what I'm doing. I don't always, especially if it's new, right? Like sometimes you don't have that mentor, that consistent mentor that's helping to guide you through these different life decisions that you're making. And so in some sense, you have to like fake it, and you have to just like put yourself out there and just, you know, adopt this mindset of like, yeah, I'm doing it. And then, you know, eventually that leads to hopefully like either a learning or just like a reassurance that like, hey, it was a good idea to follow my intuition and go through with this. So I feel like I'm constantly living in a fake it until you make it mindset. Yeah, environment or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's why this question is so hard to answer. And then in terms of like the social media element of it, yeah, there's definitely that pressure. You know, because you want to make sure that you're like relevant with the times, and you know you're not letting the pressures of what society's doing like totally get to you, but it does play a factor, and then that's when you have to like try to find ways to like moderate your usage, and factor in just different benchmarks that you have for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know. My answer is kind of scattered for this, but that's like where that's how this question is making me feel. Like I think like in conclusion, I am in this constant state of faking it until I make it, because ultimately I've never made it. So my goal ultimately is to stay grounded in who I am and my goals, and just be authentic, and not succumb to any pressures to be successful. But yeah, there is a level of just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know, especially like I said, if you're trying out new things for the first time, like you're literally designing your own blueprint as you go along. So yeah, there's always this element of like faking it until I make it. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Mo?
I mean, I was literally just trying to think. Am I faking it until I make it? I think I would also have to side with Drew. Like, I don't want to feel like I made it, because then I feel very content, and I'd much rather be on my toes than just, relaxing, being laid back. So, I mean, even for work, there are times where I say, oh, hey, I hate work, or there are times where I say, oh, I love work. So, I mean, am I really faking it till I make it? I like to think of it as I just want to continuously be on my toes. And then going to the social media aspect, I have a lot of friends of mine who are essentially, in my eyes, hyper successful, living, let's say, for example, in like living downtown Manhattan, traveling every other weekend, having essentially lavish lifestyles. And I can't really focus on me if I'm focusing on them, which ended up causing me to delete Instagram, delete Snapchat. I'm only on Twitter because I want to see what things are trending on, and plus Twitter's a different ballpark compared to Instagram or Snapchat. So just like getting rid of social media entirely. Obviously, my accounts are still there. I'm not on them. So that it alleviates the pressure of like, oh, I need to be like them. But then it's like, they are their own person. I'm me. I don't want to compare myself to anyone else. I'd much rather compare it to myself and push myself. And then, is there a pressure for you to seem successful? For my family, I was the first one to graduate college. I'm the only boy in my household. I have 4 younger sisters. One of them just got into medical school, and I'm just like, I'm working as an analyst, and I'm not in medical school, but here I am. So the pressure for me to be successful. Okay, let me rephrase that. Going off the questions that you said, to seem successful. In my family, we'd much rather focus on being successful rather than looking successful, because our focus is on us, our well-being, whether that's physical or mental, as opposed to whatever else. Because my mom always says, like, you shouldn't let anyone tell you what defines you in regards to your success or your accomplishments, because they're not paying your bills. They're just critiquing you, wanting to make you feel bad. So I feel like there's a real difference between being successful and seeming successful. Like, seeming is just like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm on a boat having fun. And then next thing you know, like, oh yeah, I'm having a great job. But then behind the scenes, they could be miserable. They'd be having a terrible time, but they're just putting up a lot of people are putting up a front just to essentially look or quote unquote be successful.
Gotcha.
So is there pressure for me to seem successful? Not at all. Instagram is no longer there to bother me in my sleep. Same thing with Snapchat. Twitter, I'm only there for the hilarious tweets and the conversations. I make my own interpretation of personal success, and that's the only thing that matters to me now.
Thank you very much, Mo. I mean, with that, Drew, you good? Richard, nothing else to share?
Yeah, I kind of like, I have an itch, but I hopefully, well, I should say, like, are we gonna talk about social media at all?
Not entirely, no. But if you can add it to this question since we mentioned it, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that conversation about like pressure and social media is definitely a thing, and on one end, I think like it has a like a huge negative influence, but for me, sometimes I use it to be like, all right, cool.
Gotcha.
This person did this, so I need to come back and level up and do that, right? So it is like this very toxic relationship where like it fuels me, but it discourages me as well.
Because I don't know. Your stories, bro. Your highlights, concerts, vacation.
Nah, chill, bro.
You be doing it, bro.
Chill. But I know if it's a little random, but I just wanted to
of course.
Speak a little bit to the social media piece, because that's definitely a huge factor in today's world.
For me personally, just to like quickly add before we move on to the next question, I purposely don't like posting our vacations and our like constantly on social media just because of that. Because I don't want to feel like I'm comparing my life to anybody else's. Like the experiences me and Gemise make are for me and Gemise alone, you know. When we recently went to Vegas, we barely had an inkling of that in our social media. Just so we don't go into that rut of like just showing our lives off to other people. We can show like a little tiny bit of highlights, but not the entire trip. Like, oh, look what we did here. Oh, we went skydiving too. Oh, we saw like the Grand Canyon and stuff like that. Just so we can get out of that like rotation and that toxic relationship of social media. But I just wanted to add that.
See, now you ignited something else.
I mean, if you're free to go past 2 hours, we can make this a conversation.
No, I really quick. I'm sorry. Really quick. I love that you said that though, because I'm like the Grinch in my family now. My sister, she's 20. I shouldn't put her age out there, right? But she's 2 years older than me. Yeah. I'm 26 and she's 2 years older than me. So y'all do the math, right? And it's funny because you would think that like I'm more social media focused, because I guess like the younger you are, right? Like the more you're like in that lifestyle, TikTok, IG, all that. But now I'm like the Grinch of the family, because like we'll go out or we'll do things, and I look to her, I'm like, don't put this online, don't do it, because everything she's like putting on social media. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting that you said that. All right, I'm done. I promise.
Definitely. I just want to make sure we at least cover most of the questions, but definitely that can be something we can come back to in a future episode.
I'm like, I'm done. As you can tell, I was the kid that got kicked out of class for talking.
No, you're fine. All right, with that, we can move on to the next question. If you guys have any quick scenarios that you have with situations that continue to challenge your confidence, i.e. public speaking, leading positions, relationships, etc. Like, what are situations that you still experience that continue to challenge? And I think Mo is starting first this time? Okay.
Yeah, sure. So I guess really quick, it would have to be, I mean, since everything is virtual with work, with, I mean, everything in life now, um, I guess like taking the lead on meetings sometimes and during
Mm-hmm.
work. I find that in person I am a very social person. I
Yeah.
can definitely be outgoing and
Yeah.
uh, show my true colors. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, even recently there was a meeting where I kind of fell through the cracks because well it's virtual and
Mm-hmm.
it's surprisingly difficult to speak to people via I guess Zoom because then it's like, all right, you don't know their uh like body posture, you can't
Yeah.
read their body language. There's like little cute, there's like little social cues you can pick up on.
Yeah.
So I guess like that was a little thing that challenged my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've been working on that, but that would be probably the one thing I automatically came to my mind.
Okay. Richard, you're up next.
I'm still confused about the question, honestly. Could you elaborate more?
Okay. So are there still situations that continue to just make you feel like, oh, I don't think I can really do this right now, or like just continue to like make your sense of confidence waver? Like any public speaking opportunities or any opportunities to lead where you're like almost second guessing, you're doubting your sense of like whether or not your ability to do it. Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, if it could be for even I'm just gonna use a simple example. I'm very like to myself,
Mm-hmm.
so like I contribute, but I think I always give the minimal. Um, so for example, I remember it was for like last Thanksgiving. We were at my uncle's house, and we were all drinking and whatever. And then it's like he's the host, but he doesn't want to do the speaking before the dinner because they usually like speak before dinner. We give thanks and everything. So it's funny because he didn't want to do it, and then it's like nobody wanted to do it, and then they put me. They're like, "Oh, Richard graduated this year. Why can't he do it?" And I'm like, "Really?" So they put me out there. I mean, I did a good job. I did a great job, but it's like one of those situations that um, I guess I don't like to take that leadership position unless I'm forced to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed a lot about me. I wouldn't want to lead unless it's like the last resort. So yeah.
Got it. Yeah, there are people like that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Drew, you're up.
Um, I'm gonna try not to give you a 15-minute answer. So for me, it's probably what I said a little bit earlier. Just projecting myself in my entirety to the world. So let's say you were to ask me these questions just like personally with no cameras on, and we were just like in the car, or we were just having lunch, chopping it up regularly, I would just have so many like clear, concise, like structured answers without even preparing. But then I'll prepare before this podcast, right? And because I know like people are gonna be watching it, and it's like this pressure to be buttoned up and say things the right way and have the right point of view. So I'm letting go of that, you know what I mean, and just being like, fuck it, like I'm trying to just like be more fluid, be more organic with my approaches, and time over time, like I'll make progress. But yeah, that's probably something that I'm still struggling with.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just add? I think that's exactly my situation too, with Drew. I feel I don't know if I feel this anxiety because I'm being recorded, but if I was in a room with you guys and I knew that if I didn't know I was being recorded, I think I would be a lot more clear with my own thoughts. But the fact that I'm being recorded, I'm like, let me not say anything that could like, I don't know. I guess I'm afraid of saying something that I shouldn't say. You know what I'm talking about? Even though I
Yeah.
probably am not gonna say it, but it's just there's a lot of pressure.
No, that definitely makes sense. That it's not the first time. That's why we just kind of like create the space and just, it's for you to be you, right? Like, that's why
Right.
when Drew was like, he's going to get canceled, I'm just like, if you had heard half the stuff that people have said on here, you'd be like, wow, like that's
That
some
would be edited
rude
out.
stuff that's coming out your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like it's not a big deal, and I definitely agree with that. Just the simple fact that like eyes are on you, like you have to live up to some certain standard, or like you have to be the way you move has to be a specific way. Just to answer, just so that you know, so the hosts are in this conversation as well. I'm a teacher, and I think that my biggest challenge right now is basically like there are times when I'm teaching kids and you get specific behavioral issues. And I think that's a moment where my confidence is like, you know, it's like, what's going on with you? Like, are you a good teacher? Are you doing what you need to do to make sure that you're giving the best education to kids and their families? And I think that also just comes into the fact of like when I do see like my principal or like any other leadership team member, I'm like, do I have it in me to want to be in that leadership position? I don't mind like, you know, taking the lead on things, but I think a good part of that is that like when I do see what people are doing and what they have to do, I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, I don't know if I could do all of that right now. It just seems like a lot of work you're trying to put on me. Just seems like there's a lot of things that go into it. And it's just interesting that like, but when I am in these leadership positions and stuff like that, like I'm good to go. But there's always this like this doubt and I do suffer from like a great deal of like, you know, imposter syndrome. Like, can I do what I'm meant to do? And I think that that's important just in general. Like, you know, there are some people who like, as me, I love to lead. I like to be the leader in teamwork positions and stuff like that. But when it comes to that time, like, am I embodying this role how I'm supposed to is basically where my brain kind of goes. And yeah, Ahmed, do you have anything to share?
No, I think Mo can finish us off over here.
You already answered.
Oh, he already answered? Oh, we can move on to the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next question.
Oh, that's on me.
Oh, my bad.
Are there things that you've said, I can't do it, but haven't tried yet? And do you look back and regret in that moment? So are there things in the past that you said, oh, I can't do this, and you just haven't tried it, and now you're looking back and you're like, man, I wish I would have did it, or I wish I would have pushed myself to do it when the time had come. And I think Mo started first last time, so Richard, it's up to you.
I think I started first the following time. Okay, but I'll continue. Honestly, I guess I am proud of doing things that I've always wanted to do. So that's a question that I probably am not going to be the best person to answer. So I'll just pass it on to somebody else. But yeah, I feel like, you know, I things that I want to do, I've always go for it. So yeah,
Got it. That's fine. Don't worry
no
about that.
regrets there.
All right, Drew.
Are there things that I've said I can't do it, but I haven't tried it? Nah, I don't think so, to be honest. Like I probably have the opposite problem where I'm trying so many different things. And then it's hard for me to focus on one because I have like, you know, short attention span. I just have all these different interests. Like, you know, one day I'm a podcaster, the next day I'm this, next day I'm that. So nah, but if I could tweak the question a little bit, like there's definitely things
Yeah.
that there's definitely things that I didn't do that I wish I would have done. And for whatever reason, like it just didn't happen. Like, for example, in high school, I wanted to play sports. Like I always wanted to be a high school athlete and like, you know, have my mom come to games and stuff and like be in the stands and cheer me on. And I initially I had a lot of regret, but I've kind of just like accepted it that's, you know, that can't be my reality. And right now I'm just trying to live out that life the way that I can. Which means that, you know, just being active right now, like I've done some adult leagues and stuff, which obviously is not the same thing as like being in high school. But yeah, I'm kind of using that as a lesson to make sure that like whatever it is that you do want to do, you do it, because sometimes those goals are definitely like better suited in particular parts of your life. And so once you exit that stage of your life, you know, you doing it at like 40 years old, probably it's like, it doesn't feel the same, you know, versus doing it at like 25 or 26. So no, I don't have the issue of like, I can't do it, but I haven't tried it yet. Like if anything, I'm running towards these things and just trying to tackle them.
Gotcha. Nice. Mo?
I think, like Drew said, there were situations in the past that it's just like, wow, I wish I did it, but now it's just like, well, you know, it is what it is. Just kind of come to terms with accepting it. Maybe there are a few programs in the past where I wish I had applied to and wish I've gotten in. But at the end of the day, like I'm happy with where I am. I can only imagine like I can continuously add on and do better.
Thanks for keeping it concise, Mo. We can move on to the next question.
And that's how you know people trying to go. Everybody's
No.
giving 30-second 30-second answer now.
30-second answers. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't want you to feel like you guys have like need to share a lot, but like since these questions are like real specific, that's why I was like, oh, quickly, if you had any situation like this, please share and like what was your experience. But yeah, there's definitely questions that could make you think that we're about to get into. And this, I feel like, is another quick question. What advice would you guys have loved to hear in your younger years that would have like helped you in your journey of self-esteem and confidence?
I'm going first, right?
Yep.
Concision again. Yo, be you. Be you. I wish I heard that more. I wish I heard that more because there's a lot of things that I'm doing right now to kind of make up for that, or there are a lot of things that I'm doing right now that I have doubts about because when I was younger, like I didn't just like be myself. You know what I mean? To the fullest. So in terms of advice that I would have loved to hear, definitely just be you. And similar to what you were saying earlier about how family, you know, kind of pushes you away from you know, goals sometimes, or just like puts you in uncomfortable situations. I would say, yeah, family definitely contributed to, especially coming from a Caribbean family. Like, you know, sometimes they can discourage you from doing certain things that you're interested in. So yeah, my advice to younger me would just be like lean into who you are, because that like manifests into you know, you don't even know what it could manifest into. And we live in a world where like, yo, you could literally monetize anything at this point, right? So I'm just
Look
trying
out
to
for
make up
merch.
for that. Yeah, I'm just trying to make up for that, be myself, and then
Mm-hmm.
just see where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Drew. Mo, you're up next.
Probably the phrase "it's okay." Um, like it's okay that you failed that test. Um, it's okay that you're feeling this way. It's okay that you want to do this, that you want to do that. It really would have helped younger Mo actually continuously, you know, have a positive outlook on life. Like being a child of immigrants, like, you know, you get a 90, but then they're like, oh, why didn't you get 100? Or, you know, why didn't you get 105? So it's like, if I was to hear that it's okay, like uh, I guess like mainly younger Mo was surrounded and solely focused on academic performance. Like it's okay that you fail that test as long as you can understand where you went wrong and how to come back from that. It'll be okay. So I really wish I had heard that when I was younger. It definitely would have helped a lot.
Definitely, same here. Coming from African parents, boy, I definitely feel that. But yeah, you can
Mhm.
go, Richard.
All right. So something that I mean, I guess I wish I would have done younger was probably take more risk and stop being so like responsible or like so aligned with whatever the norm is or whatever the case was. Um, for example, I remember going through high school and my high school years were not as fun. And I wish I had a lot more fun in high school. That way, I would have enjoyed more like my teen years. I mean, I'm having my fun now in my 20s and but it's not the same. I feel like I've also missed out on a lot. So if I would have been just a lot more like um less restraint as a person, I feel that I would have probably been a lot more different today.
That's deep, bro. That's deep. I feel that. I mean, I think I align myself with that experience. I think I had a little bit of fun in high school, but not the amount of fun that I saw other people have. But I don't know. I'm still trying to see if that had an effect on my life now. Maybe I'm trying to relive or trying to get that same amount of fun that I wish I had now. Because I play a lot of video games. I want to travel. But the only thing that limits me is De Niro, Cash, Luciano. But without that restraint, I feel like I would do more things that I want to do in my life at the moment. But I guess that's a thought for another day. You have the next question, Eunice.
Yeah. So for the next question, is there a formula of confidence that you found to work? So is there a process or a phrase that you tell yourself, or I'm trying to think of other things, just anything in general that basically gets you to make sure that you're remaining as confident in who you are as a person?
I'll quickly give an example. For me, my formula of confidence is taking the feeling of something that I'm passionate about. That can be video games, that can be information technology, and trying to reroute that feeling into a project that I have to do, a presentation that I have to do. How can I make this presentation something that I can see myself being passionate about, and just putting on a performance. It doesn't always have to be genuine, but the fact that you're channeling energy from a different space in your life into that, I feel like works for me. I think Mo, yeah, you start now. I think Drew, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, a formula for, I guess, confidence. For me, it's kind of weird because it kind of it depends on the situation I'm in, right? So a good example is like for work, if I have a big meeting coming up, I literally just get on the meeting prior to that, have my video up, and I'm looking at myself, I'm like, you can do this, you can do this. Um, but if I'm in the gym and I'm like, what, pushing 540, I literally just pat myself on my shoulder. I'm like, you can keep going. I'm like, that's it. Like that's the confidence I need. So it's essentially, I guess the formula overall is just being able to know when to reassure myself on the task at hand. Whether that's, telling myself you can do this, just physically like patting myself on the shoulder, like, okay, you can keep going. Um, that I guess that's my formula.
Okay.
Never really thought about that one. That's a good question.
You're up next, Richard.
Great. For me, I guess a confidence booster is I don't know what it is, but I feel whenever I go to the barbershop, simple things like that, just like going like that extra mile to look a little better. I feel like it does boost the confidence a lot. Also thinking that we as humans have the same potential that other human beings have whenever it comes to achieving goals. Um, you know, we're breathing, we're living. So I feel that that's another confidence booster. Just think about it like, you know what, if somebody else did it, you could definitely do it as well. Um, so yeah, that's my ingredient. That's my formula.
Thank you, Richard. Drew, you look like you got something.
No, I'm laughing because I really resonate with Richard's example about the barbershop. Although that's not like, my formula. I think I think about like the different memes that we've seen go viral, or like the different TikToks about,
Yeah.
that feeling when you just get out the chair and you got a fresh
Yeah, you
lineup.
got a
You know what I
fresh
mean?
lineup. Yeah.
Even doing this video, I'm like, damn, I haven't got lined up in so long. Like,
Bro, look at
I
me,
don't know
bro.
how to.
Like I'm
Right,
putting this
right.
out to the public.
I don't know how this is gonna look, how it's gonna feel. But so yeah, Richard, I feel you on that one. My formula, it used to be very binary. But as of recently, actually, like my girl showed me how to stretch that a little bit. So initially it was Nike, basically just do it, right? That was my only formula. Like, I'm very result driven, I'm very goal driven. So like I got confidence from literally having these daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals, whatever, and literally just doing it. But I recognize that like sometimes the plan is not as linear, and your ability to do it is, or you like, yeah, your ability to accomplish is not always like totally in your control. So going back to the work example that I gave earlier, I mean, you could apply, you could, have conversations with people, but at the end of the day, it's like there's other factors to consider. So my girl helped me understand like balance a little bit, and just like I guess like considering other factors. So adapting to maybe what's not going as planned, right? That like I use that and it's not a way to like pity myself or have pity for myself, or like make the goalposts a little bit easier, but it is a way to just like factor in that reality that sometimes things are just not going in the direction, and as long as you have done everything in your power, then that counts as just doing it too, and it's not only like, yo, I was able to accomplish. So you tried to do your thing, and like, it's not working out as intended. It's just you just gotta take accept the fact that like you did what was in your control to accomplish it. But yeah, it's just do it for me. Like, just make it happen.
Gotcha. Thank you, Drew. All right. With that, I think we can move on, right? Gemise? You got the next question?
You don't have a formula to share?
My form? I did share my formula. You don't have a formula to share?
Yeah. I think for me, it's affirmations and saying a lot of I statements. I tell myself a lot that like I'd be like I'm a damn good teacher, just to make myself just know that I know my worth. And I think that's a big part, and also just naming the facts of like what I've done and what I've accomplished. I think that's a big piece of it, because I do tend to kind of like I do a minimal celebration of my accomplishment, and I'm like, all right, I got to get back to working on like something has to be done tomorrow, so I need to get my head straight back, right? And I think that just making sure that I know that like there are things that I've done, and I'm confident in like who I am, like, I'm Black, I'm beautiful, all of those kind of affirmations, they really just help me just get through the day, or like get through a situation that I'm probably in at the moment.
Yeah. All right. It's time
And
for the.
can we take a moment to appreciate the studio too? I love the brick wall and everything. I
Oh.
don't know why we waited this long to say that, but y'all have such an elite
Thank you, man. Thank you.
setup
Thank you.
here.
I mean,
I
yeah,
feel
man.
like I should just turn my camera off because it doesn't even compare to your brick wall and your poster and all of that. So
I
shout
mean,
out
that's the
to
inspiration of the logo. I mean, like a lot of people commented on the brick wall, so I was like, might as well put it on the logo. But
yeah.
hopefully, our next apartment has a brick wall. Hopefully. But
Hmm.
yeah, but thank you for the compliment, Drew. That means a lot. But for the next question, so everybody did their personality test, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did my homework.
Yeah, you know. So all right.
Sure.
So yeah, quick three questions. Did you guys agree with your result? I personally had the advocate. which related me to MLK and Mother Teresa and like that personality type. But most of what he was saying was very true. One thing that I resonated with was that advocates really are driven by their emotions and their ideal beliefs. And so that drive kind of leads into perfectionism, which I'm trying to like really work on. I know not everything can be perfect, but the drive to be perfect that an advocate supposedly has I definitely resonate with that. So I don't know if anybody else has anything to share with their results. But the first question is, do you agree with your result? Do you resonate with it? And I think Richard is up next.
Know that I
Oh,
took the
okay.
exam like about a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
and I did get, I believe, was the defender.
Mm.
Um, I remember I took that same exam a few years ago, and I got a different personality.
Yeah.
However, I guess probably throughout time, my personality has either been changing or maybe I have a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did read the information. I mean, it was pretty like exact. I just can't remember exactly what I was reading, so
Yeah.
I need a refresher on that.
Okay. Okay. Mo, you can go. No, Drew, you can go.
I'm the protagonist,
Yeah.
and yeah, I definitely agree with this just a little bit
Uh huh.
about it. It says the protagonists are born leaders,
Mm-hmm.
which explains why these personalities can be found among many notable politicians, coaches,
Mm-hmm.
teachers. Their passion and charisma allow them to inspire others, not just in their careers, but in every arena of their lives, including relationships.
Okay.
Uh, and protagonists essentially feel called to serve a greater purpose in life, thoughtful and idealistic.
Mm-hmm.
They strive to have a positive impact on people and the world around them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely me to the T. So I it referring back to my Instagram bio, something else that's in there is like it's bigger than me with like the world icon
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I truly feel like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get me wrong, like I love like my own wins. I love flexing. I love all that stuff. But I also want to be mindful of like others around me and how can I, essentially like share some of
Mm-hmm.
those wisdom, some of those learnings, everything. Because if you're just keeping all that knowledge, my point of view is that if you're just keeping all that knowledge to yourself,
Yeah.
if you're just keeping all those wins to yourself, then like I don't know, it's kind of like a waste of. It's just a waste
Yeah.
to me. So yeah, I agree that's my personality.
Definitely. Thank you, Drew. Mo.
I too got the protagonist. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I can definitely resonate with wanting to serve a greater purpose in life because um I like Drew, I like winning, and then I also like seeing other people's win.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it just feels good, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like when especially when those close to you are very have gone through a lot, and then they finally got that one win that breaks through everything. It's just it feels great to know
Yeah.
like if you may have helped them in that entire journey.
Yeah.
And then like usually speaking up for what's right, getting involved, leading the
Mm-hmm.
way. Um, Definitely have done a lot of that, whether that's in my personal life or even career or whatever aspect of the world. Um, Kind of got hyped that the protagonists that are related to this was Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey. I'm just like, okay, this
Yes,
is it.
sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, I definitely agree with
Yeah.
this entire personality depiction.
Okay. Definitely. Next question. Does your confidence derive from your personality type in any shape or form? Like, do you knowing your personality or knowing a version of it that's written onto paper, do you see your confidence deriving from the characteristics that you agree with your result? Andrew, I think you're up first.
we might have to do the elementary school breakdown again. I mean,
So
I'm not
like,
sure I follow it.
so I don't know if you've ever thought about like who you were as a person, but the fact that you
Mhm.
see a version of your personality like quantified onto paper, do you feel like the fact that you know, okay, yeah, this is me, yeah, do you feel a sense of like more confidence giving into your personality? Like, because some people feel like they don't know who they are, right? So that makes their confidence waver. But the fact that you have this result that's quantified, that gives you a perspective or an image, does that make you more?
It's like in relation to your like horoscope.
Yeah, like people find themselves in their horoscopes and like, oh yes, this is me. I've always been questioning why I've been acting this way, but here it is quantified in front of my face.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say that that's helpful
Mm-hmm.
towards that's helpful for me, like
Mm-hmm.
to have a sense of identity,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though it's ever changing.
Yeah.
Um, not many thoughts there, surprisingly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a quick question. Mo, you're next.
Um, I'm honestly, I don't know. Like, does my sense of confidence derive from this? Yes and no.
Uh-huh.
Um, it feels good to see that some of the traits there are things that I do feel confident on, like being receptive, reliable, and such.
Okay.
But
Okay.
does that give me more confidence? No, it's like more of a reassurance in a
More
way.
of a
Just like,
reassurance. Okay.
yeah, it's just like, all right, like these are traits about myself that I know, and
Mm-hmm.
like this depiction is uh about spot on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Richard?
Um, I guess it's a yes and no as well.
Mm-hmm.
In some sense, it gives me like I feel I guess normal because it's like, oh wait, there's a category for who I am as a person, for my personality at least.
Yeah.
However, I also think like these things do change throughout time, so I'm not like 100% with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like I'm Scorpio, I'm like, okay, many of those things are true that's mentioned, but I'm not also 100% with it. So,
Yeah.
mhm,
Definitely. It's just a
yeah,
piece of who you are, a tiny piece.
exactly, right, like a general or a little gist of
Yeah.
who I am.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. You meet you up.
Yeah. So I got the architect personality type, and I felt like I agreed with it only because so there's three important parts of this. The first part is that I question everything. I do that in general. Hamed will ask you. My favorite word is why. Is I just need to know it. That's just how it is. And I'll keep asking why, even though you've probably already given me the last reason that you probably have in your head, or the last known option in the world that you think is the last option in the world. But that's there. I think another part of it is also it says architects aren't known for being warm and fuzzy. I'm not a warm and fuzzy person. I don't come across as warm and fuzzy. I'm very like, I'm going to tell you, I'm mean. I'm the most nicest, meanest person you'll ever meet. And I think that it just resonated a lot. As I was reading it, I was like, duh, like this just makes so much sense at this point. And then the third part of it was basically that there's a huge independent streak. I speak independence. I preach it. I serve it. I just know that like when I do something and when it's done by me, that it gets done exactly how I want it to, and I can't rely on other people to do it for me at that point. So I did feel like I did agree with the results. I don't think my confidence derives from that personality type, because I mean there are probably a few aspects in there that are just not me. Like I know who I am, and I know that that's probably not one of my strengths or one of my weaknesses, and I don't feel any different after taking the test. It just makes me, I guess it brings that same reassurance that everyone was kind of echoing, that like, oh, okay, like, you know, it makes sense. I could see where you're coming from. Thanks for the type. Thanks for the information that you've given. It kind of like helped put words to probably situations that have happened in the past, or situations, or like just how I progress through life. And I think that's incredibly important.
So now we can move on to the final question. Oh yes, it is.
So now it is the last question, and I think a big part of this is what are the growth plans you've set for yourself from this moment?
I thought the final question was going to be Donda versus CLB, but never mind.
Boy.
Nah, I'm just playing. Growth plans. Who goes first this time?
I think it's you.
I think it's
Is it
you.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Growth plans that I've set for myself from this moment. What moment? What moment are we referring to?
Right now.
Right now.
Like if this entire conversation has made you think about like, maybe, or maybe like there's plans that you've set for yourself that you want to achieve, maybe even before this moment. It doesn't have to be this moment, but like
Yeah.
right now, like where's your journey going?
Yeah. Well, I'm the type to let things marinate. So, I'll probably tomorrow just have like an aha moment and then want to like send you a video clip of
Definitely,
me.
bro.
It's
I'm
like
open,
saying
bro.
something and be like, yo, edit this in.
Yeah,
Edit this
got you,
in.
got you, got you.
But I would say like my growth plans, a new tradition that I've started is it's basically like 90 days before the new year starts, right? So October 1st, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get super clear and intentional about what I want the following year to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, 2020 showed us that, your plans can always go out the window. So don't spend too much time investing like in the long term. And this is exactly how I want things to look like. And this is, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Right. But yeah, growth plan for me, or just like a tradition I've adopted, is 90 days before the new year starts, diving into those new year resolutions, if you will, so that I could take those 90 days to pretty much like work out the kinks, mess up. And then come January, come the start of the year, I'm pretty much hitting the ground running on whatever it is I feel like is important to me.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. All right, Mo.
I guess for me, I mean, I've been doing some like introspection for a while and know that I do want to pursue another level of education.
Mm-hmm.
Where that'll be and how I'm going to get the scores that I want is still up in the air. I'll leave that for future Mo to figure out, not current Mo. So there's that. Looking into myself, do I feel passionate about the work I'm doing as well? Like, what are my interests? Like, what are my strong skills that I can utilize? I guess like what other careers are out there. So just doing a lot of introspection, I guess. And then I guess just being more social too, because with like COVID and the pandemic, like having a massive hit on my social lives, being social, whether that's, with new people or even my friends, like sometimes I don't even respond to the group chat sometimes. I'm just like, all right, cool. Just I leave it as is. And I'm like the watcher. Like I watch everything that goes on in the group chat. I just don't say anything sometimes. And then when I do, it'll have like an infinite amount of consequences or results. So I don't know. I'm in a weird spot right now, but I know the direction I do want to head in, which is if that makes sense or not. I don't know.
It does. It does. Thank you for sharing, Mo. Richard?
All right. So for the future, some growth plan that I have. Well, first, I want to continue the same way I've been for the past couple of years in terms of confidence and following my intuition for everything. So
Mhm.
that's definitely a goal. But one thing I started doing this year was I was actually my broker who taught me that basically write your goals and hang it somewhere. I have it in my wall in my
Mhm.
bedroom. So it's like I always see it every morning. I always revise it every now and then just to make sure that my I am aligned with whatever
Yeah.
my actions are aligned with whatever I have written on paper.
Yeah.
So that's something that has helped a lot, and I'm going to continue doing it from now on. For next year, I mean, I don't like to make plans for next year or for the future because I've noticed that sometimes, in my opinion, I mean, I think you already know about this when I was in college.
Mhm.
I wanted to be an accountant when I
Mhm.
first started school, and that really took a toll on me when I realized that I wasn't passing the classes that I had to pass. So
Oh,
I don't make those plans anymore like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this by this time. I just
yeah.
like write it down, but I don't put a time. I mean,
Gotcha.
I could try to aim for a time, but I don't make it like set. I don't set it as the exact like the time because that could really um impact you emotionally, I think.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
guess I will share since it's the last question. Quickly, I'm currently like a IT support technician, and my current growth plan is to basically learn different forms of IT. So right now, I'm learning cloud computing with Microsoft, and I'm trying to get that certificate by the end of the year so I can increase my salary potential. So that's currently a goal that I set myself. So by the end of the year, if I'm like still like messing around, fucking around, just hold me accountable, bro. Right now, I'm almost finished studying the online course that I bought. I'm at like 85% through. Just have two more chapters, and then I can start like rehearsing the questions and stuff like that. So yeah, how about you, Jamise? Any goals?
Um, I think I have, as everybody was talking, I'm like, I think my two major goals are split in between like work and personal. Since I did decide to, recently start therapy, I think one of my major personal goal at this point is just to overcome my trauma and just try to deal with like have better mental health, basically like have a space where I'm able to just function and to just be very stable in just my headspace. And I think career wise, I just want to, since I just started teaching kindergarten, I taught pre-K for 2 years. I honestly just want to become a better teacher. I want to kind of work on perfecting my craft. And I know that's something that's ongoing because education is just always just changing and it's ever evolving in very many ways. There's always something that I have to research or like teach that I need to make sure that I'm telling my students about. And I think that it's a lot of constant things that need to be done. And I think I just want to become better as a teacher first before I decide to want to lead a whole school or a whole group of teachers and a bunch of students in a whole building.
Thank you for sharing, Jamise. And that's the end of the episode. Thank you very much, Drew, Richard, Mo, for staying 2 hours being vulnerable. I mean that has to be like thanks, Drew. That has to be a Guinness World Record right there. But outside of UMLA workshops. But besides that, I just want to thank the audience for listening again and supporting the episode. You can catch us on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcast, and a few other Stitcher Radio. We just Google us, bro. We're all out there. And to the audience, we'll see you on the next episode. And for the participants, you guys can say like a little bit after for like feedback and stuff right now. But I'm ending the recording. See you next time.